What up, my freaks? RuinousInsight here with part 6 of my Total War Warhammer 3 modded Malekith and Naggarond Inc. campaign. At Naggarond Inc., our workers are our family. Everyone here lives and breathes the mission of the company, at least while they continue to live and breathe. Naggarond Inc., where misery is made. Anyway, as we saw last time, Malekith began the war against the Nagarath faction, against ALITH and ANAR for daring to take the name of Malekith's homeland of Nagarath. He's probably upset about the whole thing, but not for much longer, as ALITH and ANAR will be destroyed this very episode, in fact, this very turn. I'm expecting a pretty good battle, especially because there's a decent garrison here with lots of Lothern Seaguard, more cav, ALITH and ANAR himself, and of course the fact that we don't have access to Druchii First Strike. In addition to that, we were able to destroy the Hmong up north, and thus Crone Hellebron will be heading down through the newly taken territories of the Exiles of Nehek from our Dwarfen allies, hopefully to link up with them and then not have to worry about the Tomb Kings anymore. Honestly, Gromby should be having a decent time against them, as long as he doesn't go north to try to retake this stuff, so hopefully we could do it for him. Anyway, before we get started, once again, we've reached the requisite number of likes and comments for the previous episode, so the accelerated video uploads continue, and they will continue to continue as long as the 300 likes and 30 comments threshold is reached. So drop them if you're interested. Otherwise, it's time to begin, and Malekith, we're going to begin by hitting ALITH and ANAR immediately. There is, I'm sure, a little bit of admin to do, but I've been excited about this battle ever since the end of last episode, so we're going to jump on in as soon as we give everybody their points, with the possible exception of Malekith. We do not need Sycophantic Schemer here. We don't have anything else, so I guess we're getting Blade Master for you, my friend, and then you can have, I guess, Hard to Hit. You're the one that we're probably going to delete, mostly because I want 2 Masters with the Spiteful thing here, just to buff up Malekith even further, because he, of course, absolutely would have all of his retinue buffing him personally. Ooh. Also, I noticed that this is a tier 3. Meaning we could sack it for a very nice 6k, or we could occupy it. I wish I remembered how much it costs to go up to tier 3. Okay, so 3.2k. With the requisite reductions, that will be a little bit less, but the sack value might actually be worth our time. Although, another problem, if we sack it, we will have wasted a turn, because Malekith probably won't be able to reach it. But he will be able to auto-resolve afterwards. Hard to say as to what is more worth our time here. We'd also have to rebuild a bunch of other buildings and repair stuff, but I still think that 600 might be worth it. It's not like this place is going to be built up very soon anyway, because we lack this province, so maybe we don't really care that much about it. Also, while we're here, we should probably cancel the non-aggression pact with Silostra. She will probably attack us at some point, but yeah, we'll need to take all this territory down here anyway. It's all territory that should belong to us, and part of her territories have Clarkarond, which is a city that we must absolutely have. So, and the non-aggression pact, sorry Silostra, and you're not gonna like that at all, but well, we're running out of enemies down here, or at least in this portion of the map, before we get down to the Wood Elves, who I guess, who have in fact found us here. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, they'll probably declare war on us soon. We need to take out Silostra and build up here before they declare war, as they will be annoying to deal with because of all their range. Anyway, I apparently had 2 points here, and that's it. So, unless I'm mistaken, we're ready to go. Let's get to it. Ooh, he's got 2 Silveran Guard as well as 2 White Lions, and ooh, Great Eagles as well. Alright, this should be an interesting fight. Valiant defeat and high casualties. That's what I like to see, game. Now let's get to it. Alright guys, Malekith is ready, and isn't it appropriate that Malekith's darkness meets ALITH's shadow in this very dark map? Once again, I generally don't particularly like dark maps because I love to observe the glorious spectacle of the combat, but A, spoiler, there's going to be a second battle this episode, and it's going to be extremely epic, and B, well, as I said, I feel like it's appropriate specifically for Malekith versus ALITH. The Shadow King would obviously try to take on Malekith while embracing his own shadowy nature. Anyway, we're going to start the battle off by moving toward the enemy with our Dark Riders with repeater crossbows, though unfortunately the Lothern Seaguard and the enemy archers do outrange them, which means they take a few volleys. Not a lot of damage, mind you. I was hoping to essentially damage the enemy eagles enough so that they would... Oh, the moonlight here is at least lighting them up nicely. Damage the eagles enough to force them forward and towards us, but alas, it looks like the enemy is doing a pretty good job protecting them. We can see how the enemy moves archers towards the eagles and even some spears, so I'm not entirely sure why they would do that, to protect their cav as well. Looks like ALITH uses his ability to hit. Wow, a lot of those guys died to that ability. Gotta be careful. I guess ALITH is decently scary, and in fact our units are very heavily damaged right now, though Malekith is near them for a specific purpose. I haven't given up on this concept, and I still want to try to get those eagles moving forward instead. So what we're going to do is actually send Malekith forward with a few spells. We can see him riding around on that chariot cresting the hill currently. I accidentally forgot to put him back on his Cold One mount, and now that he has a chariot, he will probably not be able to duel ALITH. But I guess he does look more appropriate on the chariot riding around than he did on a Cold One, I think. The chariot is a little bit more kingly, wouldn't you say? And then a single mount, well, like a Cold One rather than a dragon. Anyway, the purpose of what he came here for is reached as he cast a Blade Wind right in the middle of a decent number of enemy. And it's probably not going to do anything crazy, but there are both spears and archers here, and we'll see what Malekith can do with a little bit of his spell work. I did say that there's a likely chance of us replacing the sorceress or sorceresses if we get another one in his army eventually completely in favor of other units, as he can still cast himself. It looks like his cast did us a decent favor, destroying 2 units of archers, or 1 unit of archers and 1 unit of Lothern Seaguard, having the HP of another unit of archers, and 2/3 HP-ing one of the units of enemy spears. On top of that, Malekith got himself a good 177 kills, and let's see... 29k damage, very respectable, you gotta admit. This also served the purpose of annoying ALITH's army enough that they now begin to march towards us, and we will have to deal with them. Specifically, the eagles are what we wanted, and it looks like both the eagles and the enemy silver helms are fast enough to those are Illyrian Reavers to reach our chariots. Fortunately, Malekith moves in to trap specifically the cav, as we don't want the eagles trapped. We want them to continue following us, where both our Dark Riders with crossbows, as well as our chariots, and Malekith himself will try to hunt those eagles. I really strongly don't want the eagles flying around, because they can be really irritating going into our back line and hurting our dark shards, and so it'll be crossbows versus eagles here. Malekith distracting them a little bit, charging on in, and it looks like we're doing decent amounts of damage, dropping them to about half HP, if nothing else. Malekith is starting to take hits from the enemy range, however, as the enemy army crests the other hill and moves towards us. There's certainly enough moonlight here. Nice. Maybe I think the HDR, the graphics setting that I added is doing this, as I think usually this map might be too dark to be able to see anything. Oh, I do see some Some flickering in some of the textures there, but once again, that bug has existed for a while. Anyway, the Illyrian Reavers charge in, and ALITH ANAR uses his special ability, and the Illyrian Reavers do smash into those Dread Spears, but that is not super concerning, and looks like they'll be out of the picture soon. Our Sorceress launches a fireball from her Ruby Ring of Ruin into an enemy set of spears, or a Silveran Guard in particular, as it is a much higher value target, while the rest of the army continues marching forth. ALITH ANAR, what the heck is his range? He has 384 range. Yeah, he's basically artillery. Damn, that's pretty impressive. And it looks like the enemy Illyrian Reaver archers suffer the exact same fate that our own Dark Riders with crossbows or repeater crossbows suffered, as our Dark Shards mow them down. The enemy has been forced to move off their own hill, however, which means we have the elevation advantage, as both our troops can move down from the elevated area, in addition to the fact that we can fire down from an elevated area as well. Our Sorceress is also going to cast that Burning Head, which has been making waves in this campaign, doing pretty darn great, and it looks like it's going to continue doing so as it heavily damages the enemy High Elven archers. And Malekith's going to follow up with a Chill Wind as well. Ice and Fire once again. Now the battle is well and truly joined. Darnzapal's Black Horror mowing down Silveran Guard as they clash with both Malekith and some Dread Spears here. But the battle does seem to be going fairly evenly so far. Evenly is not that bad of a thing, however, as we do have magic and we do still have Murderous Prowess. The enemy's own version, Martial Prowess, will get weaker as they get damaged, whereas we will get stronger. So if the battle is starting off even, that means we should technically have the advantage. Malekith is also going to continue charging forward, mostly to annoy enemy archers so that they cannot fire upon us, and it looks like we've managed to see off at least a few units. This unit of White Lions did not really achieve all that much by the looks of it, although 39 kills isn't too bad, but they did get shot down by our range units. There is a Noble with some Spearmen, but they are being held off by Dread Spears, and our Black Guard are marching forward, hopefully directly towards ALITH ANAR. Otherwise, it looks like our focus fire has been doing a decent amount of damage to most of the enemy units here. As we can see, a lot of them are beginning to rout. And ALITH ANAR's lack of magic in this particular battle is certainly not going so well for him. We have our second Master fighting in the middle of the foray as well, helping out against those Spears and Silveran Guard. And it looks like these guys are going to book it on out of there as well, even though 97 out of 100. They running, but they've barely lost any models. Too bad for them. Man, I like ALITH ANAR's shots. They look like shooting stars in this particular dark map. Malekith continuing to run unimpeded through the enemy backlines and prevent other enemy units of archers from firing. And it looks like we have complete range advantage now. Balance of power has shifted to about 75% in our favor. Another unit is about to rout here, and we did move our archers or our Dark Shards to fire into the back/flanks of that unit of spears that was being led by that Noble. And it looks like he will receive no further support. Our Masters have also hunted down, or begun hunting down, ALITH ANAR. One of them is currently being distracted by one of his clones, unfortunately, but hopefully not for long, as we head directly, or try to head directly, towards ALITH ANAR. Oh, right, he has Mislead, which makes him unspottable, which means he could just get a slight distance away from you and then disappear. Finally, Murderous Prowess was active, I should say. Not for very long, but we didn't need it for very long, as most of the enemy army has pretty much now broken. And now the job is to chase them down and prevent them from coming back. We see our chariots working in the background, attacking enemy units until they shatter, and we'll be changing units right after that. Repeater crossbows are also getting a few shots into this unit of Lothern Seaguard, even as they get hit by a very nice Chill Wind. Oh man, the blood and the gore look like purple when in combination of the lighting of the Chill Wind, the purple lighting of the Chill Wind, as well as the dark map. Alrighty. Oh, well, it looks like the battle is actually pretty much won. Yes, the balance of power is still only about 75% in our favor, but all the enemy units are pretty much running and being chased off. ALITH ANAR is still on the field, but by himself. I'm not sure that he can handle it. You can't bring vengeance to a Nagarath on your own. You gotta run, buddy, and the Masters and the Black Guard have now found you, so you are not going to survive this. Or the Master, I think the other Master is away. Kuran Darkhand will take care of ALITH ANAR for us, or at least force him to rout. I think I hear retreat horns, and with ALITH ANAR found, even if he's not heavily damaged, the enemy army shatters, and the battle is ours. Lovely. Oh, lovely. Looks like Malekith did take some damage. Unfortunately, I just whiffed on activating that potion of toughness right at the end of the battle, but it's okay. He still did respectable damage at 53k, though I do wish that you could have separate stats to show you which part of the damage was from spells and which part of him was from physically attacking. I suppose with regards to Malekith, it doesn't really matter that much, mostly because he'll be going on Seraphon on his Black Dragon later on anyway, so the comparison between Cold One and Cold One Chariot is not relevant, but for other lords, it certainly would be relevant. Anyway, close victory, certainly, and we did take some damage, but it was a heck of a fight, and, well, we've got more, so stay tuned. Alrighty, a pretty good fight if I do say so myself, though ALITH ANAR managed to get 16k damage. Very nice, and the White Lions did fairly well as well, 8k and 7k, at least compared to many of the rest of the enemy units. Unfortunately, our skirmish cav did not have a very good time, but we at least tried to do the whole skirmish thing, and they did sort of help force the enemy army forward, even if they got kind of ripped apart by the enemy range units. As well, they do get outranged by them, which is the big problem. Never really had a good opportunity to commit our Black Guard of Naggarond in that battle, but mostly because I kept waiting for the enemy hammer to fall and for the Black Guard to act as the shield, but alas, it wasn't needed, or maybe fortunately, it wasn't needed. Malekith got the lion's share of the kills with 53k damage, by and large due to his spells, I imagine, though not sure. I mean, I'm obviously not super keen on the Chariot, as it'll make him less of a duelist, and thus the reason why we couldn't send him out to fight ALITH ANAR directly, but nonetheless. Anyway, we're gonna sack the place because, well, I feel like it's worth our time to do so, even if this means we can't immediately retake it. Hero action cost reduction and hero action success chance all characters faction-wide. It's not actually a bad stat to stack on everybody, but probably not what we're going to do right now. And oh, actually we can retake it. Well, that's fantastic. And that is that for Nagarath. They will not be returning. The faction destroyed. I mean, I suppose in theory they could get awakened. Oh, I also noticed that as soon as they die, the Defensive Alliance request and the Confederation request drops from car on car. Hardly surprising, and we may actually have to, at some point, destroy them. I also just realized that I should have had the Black Ark move forward. My bad. We could have used the Black Ark support there. Oh well. Oh, what can you do? I wonder. If you move in a regular stance, can you still reach Malekith to provide him with the heals? Yes, you can. Fantastic. And then we'll go into Dread Expansion. Yeah, that would have been easier with the extra heals, but at the end of the day, we'll heal up, or extra abilities will heal up to full anyway. Anyway, we got a very decent chunk of change out of that. So, there are things that we absolutely need. First of all, well, we do want the Black Ark upgraded fairly fully. Dark Elf residences are absolutely necessary because the Black Ark growth increase, and you know what? The cell decks ain't bad either. Oh, we could have actually increased the sacking slightly, only by 10% from that battle by having it nearby. Damn, always have your Black Arks nearby, people, or you make stupid mistakes. Okay, that looks good, or at the very least we can't do anything else about it now. Now, we want to upgrade you, although, and we could pop the Diktat. We will need to upgrade stuff soon, and it will be expensive. We do have these slaves for it. Alright, fine. We're going to do the construction cost and growth Diktat, then slave drive. Alrighty, and that will make you level up to next turn. Swap. Crafting district for you. Now, I guess the question here is going to be whether we make... Because of the fact that Gron has the gold mine, and there's a decent decent likelihood that we would benefit from building black roads everywhere here to increase the income from all buildings, in addition to, I suppose, a lot of these slave pens buildings. They are fairly expensive and they do cost us control, however, which means we will have to counteract it with additional diktats, but this is going to be a money-making province, so I guess it is necessary. There's no other easy way to make money for us, as I understand it, with this faction. This is really the only choice we have. Alright, slave pens it is, and I guess that's slave pens pretty much everywhere. Though, wait, let's see if there's other more important stuff to build first, and then we'll see. So, Road of Skulls. We do have upgrades here, and we do still have... Oh, we have open... Wait. Open markets. Did I use the wrong diktat here? No, I didn't. Okay, good. I was very concerned for a few seconds there. We do want to upgrade Kawark. We do want to upgrade Spiked Reach. We get extra control on... Ooh, I think we have to get rid of you building, unfortunately. It's a little bit less money, but we need to get the dyes up and running, which actually do make decent cash as well. Spiked Reach, we could upgrade you. Kawark, we could upgrade you. It doesn't really matter which one we do. I'm kind of tempted to keep the House of Exiles, but the Shades are so expensive right now, it's probably not worth putting them into our armies. Let's upgrade the Dark Tower at Spiked Reach first, I think. And then we'll do Kawark fairly quickly anyway, because the place is growing fairly well after all. Alrighty, what else is critical right now? Possibly Slave Pens here, but we can wait on it. Harkaldra. We do want to upgrade you, and I think we also don't necessarily need the Slave Pens here anymore, because we can build the Halls of Mustering here instead. Well, you know what? Let's keep it for a few turns, but we'll probably get rid of it. I will upgrade Dark Tower right now. Oh, you know what? We could reduce the cost of it fairly significantly in 2 turns, so we could also wait on it. Yeah, alright, fine, let's wait. Right now, we're gonna have to nickel and dime pretty much everything because, well, our economy has not yet kicked off, and that's why we're working on it. We need to counteract the negative public order here with a fights to the death. And Diktat, control plus 25, good. Frigid Wasteland, Glacial Gardens. It's relatively cheap for an upgrade, relatively. So we'll upgrade you, Altar of Ultimate Darkness. You need to be level 3 in order to get that, that upgrade, so we'll wait on that. Otherwise, I guess we're going to build another Artisan's House. Place isn't going to be growing all that much. In fact, we could increase the growth by not collecting the income, and I think we'll do that in a little bit. But not right now. Because once again, right now, we need all the money we can get. Anyway, we have 4.2k remaining, which means we do just have enough to build those additional slave pens. We just have to make sure that in Grand we get the torture posts to counteract the effect of all these slave pens and the control debuffs that they will inevitably give us. We'll also probably want to build a slave district, but I guess the question is where. Slaves used by region reduction 30%. It's decent, but these buildings don't actually use that many slaves. I'm not sure it's worth our time, at least in this particular province. Yeah, for now, just go for the pens. Okay, good, and we'll save a little bit of money in case we want to upgrade or build or recruit other stuff. We do want to keep upgrading the Black Ark, and we do have another Black Ark to be getting ready for. Also, Malekith is rank 11 now, and as somebody pointed out, the Tyrant Tree is also a pretty good choice. I generally gravitate towards War Leader, because I just want the main lord of the faction to be just the most obnoxiously strong fighter as they can be, but the stuff that is given is also decent at the very least. The upkeep reduction as well. Income from post-battle loot faction-wide, I just want to take a look at this. The sacking settlements plus 50% is pretty significant, especially if we combine it with the with Infamous Raider as well as any other things that increase it even further. If that's going to be a major part of our economy, we'll want to at least be able to sack things for insane amounts of cash. But the income from all buildings plus 10% and control plus 2, those are also very significant. So you guys let me know what your thoughts are on all this. This is another 20% income from all slaves, which means that's a 20% buff to the 300 income we get from every single slave building, and that's fairly significant as well, on top of the 10%. So it's a lot of extra money. But these two things are completely worthless. Efforts redoubled and seditious or sanguine. Control bonus, useless. Dark elf relations, worthless. Corruption, relatively worthless. Growth, construction cost, construction time. This is all in Malekith's local province, and he's always going to be out there conquering. He's not going to be sitting around for too long, which is what makes me doubt that thing, because the other side, War Leader at least, has all useful stuff. But I guess the first two of Tyrant are so strong that the other two are kind of meh. We're not going to turn Malekith into Engineer Corps like I did in my Belagar campaign. Anyway, what do we want from this? We've got Chartered Piracy. I think that's the one. The recruitment cost reduction for the Black Ark Corsairs alone is pretty darn worth it. Just by virtue of the fact that we will want to fill up all of our Black Arks with them. We also probably want continuous slave supply for the income from ports and casualties capture, but we have barely any ports right now for that to make much of a difference, and the leadership in foreign territory is going to be useful as well, at least while we still use our basic troops, though probably not so much later in the game. Anyway, skips damage building. Oh, and the Blacklight Tower. I'm gonna not bother upgrading you for now, mostly because I figure if these guys suddenly attack us, you're gonna be the target. Skip again, hero not moved, skip again, outpost available. Not wasting the money until we get enough allegiance to actually make use of it, and that's the end turn. And Hagrieve has been... Oh, they've declared war on the Crimson Sky. Yeah, sure, why not? Why not? We're not breaking the agreement, that's for sure. Alright, I'm really curious to see where Gromby is going to go based off of what's been happening here. In the desert, I mean. Crimson Skull destroyed. Oh, that was quick. Evil Choir Master. More Evil Choir Masters. You can't have too many of those. And, oh, Hellebron just unable to reach here even with the March stance. Damn, I was hoping to take this turn. Oh, well, move forward. And Gromby is not over there yet. Okay, good. Let him just hang out down here. If we can take both of these, that would be perfect. Ooh, we're also starting to drop fairly low in slaves because of all of the increases to money, but we're at 2.6k, well, partly because of the raiding we're doing here, and that'll actually rise as we do more raiding here. And oh. Well, here's an annoying thing. First of all, Malekith, what's wrong? This army is blocking us. You gotta be kidding me. We can't leave this place. That is so stupid. They're allies, and just by sitting there, they're preventing Malekith from moving. I have never seen that happen before. Huh. I feel like there could be ways that you could abuse that. Like, screw your allies over by just parking an army here, like, in a similar place, and preventing them from crossing. That's bizarre. Interesting, though. Alrighty, fine. Then, Malekith, you're gonna go around, and we're going to land where... Oh, wow. We gotta go fair ways to land. Alright, let's get these Remnants of Battle and have the Black Ark follow along. A little bit further than I'd like to be right now, but the Black Ark has places to be as well. And I don't see Silostra. Ooh, I probably should have kept Malekith in range, and we did keep him in range, although he's not really healing all that much. You keep Dread expanding, as you like to do. Now... Not much to do this turn, eh? I really did not expect Karant Kar rather to get in our way like that. The Gallus, I guess you're staying around, and ooh, back to 6 turns per research. We really need those sorceresses up and running. 1 for, you know, our lords, and 2 for the ability to steal tech. Assuming that Dark Elf sorceresses can steal tech, I hope that they can. No? Oh, yes, they can. Oh, okay, I got worried there for a second. Alright, well, let's upgrade more buildings, continuing with that economy. Black Pillar, most definitely get the Cinnabar Mining Pit, which is what we wanted. And we still have the open markets here. Good. Spiteful Peaks, I should say. Malice would prefer Spite Peaks, I'm sure. You can, I guess, build up Grand. We need that gold mine up and running. Let's also get that Artisan's House, and we won't have enough money to get the slave pens here as yet, but we will later on. Iron Coast, I guess we can upgrade this crafting district. Yeah, sure. We'll have to keep an eye on public order, but the public order will soon fix itself again, because if we give it a few more turns, we can simply do the quest battle for Malekith, which will give us the 25 public order, so I'm not super worried about it at the current time, though the Dark Elves do certainly benefit from having high public order by virtue of the fact that they don't lose as many slaves when they have it up and running. Though obviously it's nowhere near to the likes of the commandments of, for example, the Lizardmen. Join war against subtle torture? No. Why bother? I mean, I guess to peace out with them, but I think they'll be destroyed before long. Alright, these guys are sitting at the monoliths, and it looks like Naggarond has lost the battle against them. It's only a matter of time. One of these places will actually most likely get taken over by these guys when they take the opportunity to attack us, which they absolutely will, which is actually what I'm waiting for. It's fine. We don't really care about any of these territories, which is why we left them at relatively low levels. I just kinda hope that it's not Blacklight Tower that falls, and in fact, maybe it'll be worth our time to repair it. Also, the public order here is atrocious, but once again, we'll fix it. Malekith, go to the Remnants of Battle. And I should have brought the Black Ark forward, but I guess it isn't actually needed. Fell cargo for you. Wax-sealed rations. Ooh, that was a nice pickup. It may not be materials at sea, but it's still quite nice. Malekith, you're going to go right here. And you're not going to suffer attrition because you're going to raid for a decent amount, and then we'll have the Black Ark move forward as well. Hopefully they attack us soon. I absolutely expect them to, though. Let's see, you can go into Dread Expansion, and you know what, actually keep a distance from Dastan Cold-Eye, because there's no way that we're going to be able to take him out. Oh, he has Granite Stance. I think that might be one of the good ones. It's a Name of Power, but I don't remember what it does. I guess we'll see. Oh, we've got our own Names of Power coming up soon as well. Oh, I'm excited for that. Once again, I love the system. And, oh my, Grand Hierophant KHATEP. You've arrived in... Oh. Huh. Well, that's interesting. That is a lot of chariots. Would we even be able to take this army? That would be a toughie. We do have Druki First Strike available, so we could destroy this little mini army with its artillery piece before they get down to too much damage, but iffy. Very iffy. Interesting. Do we... Nah, I'm not gonna waste Sacrifice to Cain, not on this. If we had a caster, I'd be a lot more confident in this. Oh, speaking of having a caster, Master Sorceress. We want a Beast Sorceress. We have Malevolent and we have Malicious. Neither one I like, and I don't want to spend the money to mill through them. That's unfortunate. Tough would be decent. I mean, I guess we could get a... Upkeep production on all units in army. It's only 2%, but not horrible. It still should be beasts for these guys. Weapon strength plus 25 when attacking. Not useful for a sorceress. Unless, wait, huh. I wonder if beast sorceresses for Dark Elves work like beast sorcerers for the Empire, giving them the ability to mount... to use a better mount. Somehow I doubt it, though. Because if that was the case, then we could make use of this. We could also just get this one temporarily until we get a better one. Because I want to get into Hellebron's army as fast as possible. You know what? Let's try it out. Kind of hurts to waste this much cash right now, but she needs a sorceress. And no, Dark Pegasus is the max amount that you can get. Too bad. Too bad. If they could ride a Manticore, that would be fantastic. It would make sense for the Beast Lords. Kind of odd that the Empire Wizards can do it and Dark Elf sorceresses can't, because they're probably going to be a lot better at doing that sort of thing. Anyway, Hellebron, we're going to give you Daughters of Despair, I think, or you know what, maybe for this battle, we'll go Favor of Cain instead. Or Gaze of Cain. No, Favor of Cain, which upgrades Gaze of Cain, sure. This will upgrade decently these two units as well, though. What's the likelihood that we'd be able to use this 3 times anyway? I guess with the cooldown reduction. Maybe we'll go Favor of Cain. Alright, and we'll get Regeneration up next. Then you are going to get your... Let's say... I I haven't decided whether to go Rune of Cain or Witch Brew on you, so we're not going to do that. Let's get you Hag Queen, I guess. You'll start using... Ooh, you get a Martial Name of Power. Oh, swell. I'd like to see what this gives you. Alright, what do we have here? Worm Scale gives you armor, speed, and melee defense versus Drake Cleaver, which is just 30 bonus. This is large, that's it. That's awful. How does this even compare? Obviously, Worm Scale. I'd probably I'd probably be considering Worm Scale over Drake Cleaver if it was just 8 melee defense. I am going to give this a quick read, though. In the gnarled and treacherous peaks surrounding one of your estates, a dragon's lair has been discovered. Its inhabitant is an old, tired specimen, docile enough to offer one of its ancient scales, imbued with magic. In return, the dragon wishes to be left to rest in peace. So, accept the offer or slay the gargantuan beast. Accept the gift. Such a fearsome creature certainly has its uses. Accept the deal and leave the dragon be for now. Pragmatic. We could get more scales, potentially. Anyway, we're going to try to force the enemy to move towards us, I guess, so that they are forced to march across the map. Let's attack Mr. Ramecht out here. With the Druki First Strike, you're not going to run. Fantastic. I feel like this battle would be a lot easier if we had a lot more enemy infantry to contend with, rather than 8 million chariots. Grand Hierophant KHATEP really thinks he's Cetra. Or maybe he wants to be. Well, Cetra's still angry at him, so maybe he just wants him to like him a little bit, so he's going all in on the chariots. Standard of Discipline. Who is likely to break? I don't think anybody's particularly likely to break, but we're going to put this on the Executioners, I think. And here we go. Alright, here we go. Still haven't heard a proper speech from Hellebron as yet, unfortunately. I'd like to hear what she has to say about everyone's misery, but, well, I'm sure we'll get one eventually. Anyway, we've deployed, as I said, via Druki First Strike as close to the enemy as possible because we want to take out these damn bone catapults. Skull catapults? Screaming Skull, kept close enough. Screaming Skull catapults before the enemy arrives onto the field. Fortunately, with our entire army being here and this being a relatively weak little minor army outside of the settlement, they should go down pretty quickly. And it's not like the artillery can fire with 2 blood cauldrons in their midst, or at least I certainly hope not. Our archers or our dark shards are also doing a great job. They've already destroyed one of the enemy units of chariots, and this poor unit of skeleton archers, distracted from one direction by our masters, who are also going after the enemy Lich Priest Lord here, and hit by those dark shards will make sure that the enemy gets nothing accomplished here. And here comes Hellebron, or possibly her Death Hag, can't tell, but running down that poor Lich Priest, who, as we can see, has begun to crumble away in there. Doubling up on the dark maps today, but not to worry, we start off dark in Naggarond, or Nagarath, every time. We start off dark in Nagarath, but then later on we will move on to Ulthuan, where it'll all be pretty and with green grass and not tundra and polar nights and everything like that, as we cast down the pretty marble cities of the hated Asur. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself, but you know, Malekith talks about it so much, it's kind of contagious. Misery is contagious, folks. And they do say it loves company, after all. Anyway, looks like this first army is pretty much destroyed. The Blood Cauldron is going to take care of the last of those skeleton archers, and now it's time to get ready for the real fight as the reinforcements arrive on the field. A heck of a lot of reinforcements, I should say, and the enemy is going to open the battle up by casting a Skullstorm, which I just missed while watching the last of those units of archers die. This Dark Shard unit and this unit of Dreadspears got very heavily damaged by the Skullstorm. Don't underestimate Skullstorm. It's now very cheap to cast and very much effective. It used to be a kind of terrible spell. I used to never, ever use it in vanilla, but between the updates and what SFO has done to it, it's extremely effective, especially in the early game against trash infantry. And I genuinely like the spell now. Especially for a Vortex, which you can't trust half the time, but it can certainly rack up the kills. Anyway, the battle is joined, and the enemy chariots are having a difficult time getting through all those Dread Spears. Isn't it lovely that we have so many? A Pit of Shades, or a discount Pit of Shades, as some of you have called it in the comments, comes down in the middle of the enemy formation, and we are doing a decent job of keeping the enemy penned up. Essentially, the balance of power, however, has shifted vastly in the enemy's favor just by virtue of the arrival of all those units, both KHATEP as well as their elites. Tons of chariots. We got Ushabti with Great Bow, which are just so scary, and Tomb Guard, and I believe there are 2 units of Sepulchral Stalkers as well. So lots of scary stuff that we're going to have to contend with. Let's see if we can manage to pull this one off, despite the auto-resolve giving the favor to the enemy. Oh, those Sepulchral Stalkers absolutely towering over those poor Dread Spears, but we do still have the advantage of the anti-large, and hopefully we can make good use of it. We can see the Rage of Cain, or whatever that ability is called, coming in from Hellebron, and while we are going to be leaving the Death Hag here to hold the line and damage the enemy and buff her own troops, like the Executioners, which are holding or anchoring the center of our line, we are going to send Hellebron forth directly towards KHATEP. Hunt him down so he can cast no further of those damn Skull Storms, as they are just so scary. And I don't imagine KHATEP was a good enough fighter to contend with Hellebron, who, especially when buffed, can be pretty ridiculous. 117 melee attack. Ouch. Though, of course, she's an infantry blender. She's not really meant for lord hunting, but unfortunately both our masters are here, and they are trapped in combat. Ooh. Very nice shot, though. Enemy is healing up due to the Realm of the Dead activating, or the Realm of Souls, rather. I believe this is Tier 2, so as soon as it hits Tier 3, the enemy will summon an Ushabti unit upon us somewhere. That said, by that time, we will hopefully have Murderous Prowess active as well. Our Dark Shards are currently focusing down enemy elites, namely the Screaming Skull Catapult, which we really need to get off the field before it does damage. A little bit towards the enemy Sepulchral Stalkers, which, as we can see, are kind of struggling against our Dread Spears. They are relatively fragile after all. And lastly, the Ushabti with Great Bow, which we can see here due to the focus of archers on them, are starting to crumble away. Speaking of crumbling away, it looks like KHATEP is bleeding in critical binding and very low HP, as Hellebron has hunted him down. And while he's going to be able to get one more cast up, there's probably not going to be another. It looks like Hellebron has done her job, though I still think it's kind of silly the way that the Blood Cauldrons look when they attack. That's just fine. Well done to Hellebron. KHATEP is down, hunted down. No more filthy magics to contend with the Cainites, although you can make the argument, so Death Hags and Disciples of Cain have certain powers, like they can scream a name of Cain and do things. There is sort of like Cainite sorcery, but I guess they don't really call it sorcery. Because Death Hags aren't technically magic casters, but they can scream the names of Cain. But they have power in and of themselves, like I imagine the names of the Chaos Gods do as well, even for those that aren't casters. Anyway, with the death of KHATEP, and I do believe Hellebron is about to hunt down the second priest, the balance of power has shifted in our favor. The enemy has summoned those Ushabti, and we are sending our Hargoneth Executioners to deal with them. Granted, they're anti-infantry, but, well, we need somebody who can handle themselves to deal with these guys, and the Executioners are probably our best bet. I still do love the Ushabti, though, the dual Kopeshes. Their fighting form is really nice, but hey, the Executioners are no slouches either, and are definitely one of the coolest units on the Dark Elf roster. Although I definitely enjoy the Dark Elf roster in general. I can't wait until we get a Hydra. As soon as we get the Chill of Sontar, which is like the best Regiment of Renown we have. Although I really like the Regiments of Renown of the Dark Elves as well. Just the Chill of Sontar is particularly good. I absolutely adore the Raven Heralds, although I'm not entirely sure why there's only one unit of Raven Heralds. Raven Heralds are a thing in Warhammer, and I'm pretty sure there's not just one unit of them. Well, regardless, not super important as KHATEP's army begins to crumble away. The second lord has been killed by Hellebron, who's done a fantastic job at hunting them down, considering that's usually what our masters do, and it looks like only the summoned Ushabti will remain. and they will crumble before the Cauldron of Cain. Fantastic. Well done, everybody. I'm hoping that soon we will have more Sisters of Slaughter and other witch elves in this army while we wait for the executioners, and we do get a heroic victory considering what the auto resolve is saying. Lovely. Too bad that this wasn't a desert map, as I would have loved to fight in the desert, because they always look very nice and are lit up, but we're just getting dark maps. But hey, it's all the way in the north, so it's hardly surprising. Alrighty, that was pretty fantastic. I very much enjoyed that particular fight. The duel between Hellebron and KHATEP, and the fact that, well, we certainly had to work for it. The game said it was going to be a valiant defeat. And this was also a very good showcase of why I like to build Dread Spears over Bleak Swords. I know a few of you have asked me why when their stats are very similar, and this is a very good example. Frankly, the infantry units that we have that aren't Blackheart Corsairs, I don't expect them to do damage. That's not their purpose. They're just an anvil, and when they're acting as an anvil, not expected to kill, because that's what our Dark Shards and our spellcasters and heroes and stuff and specialists do, they're better off defending against specifically units that are very threatening, i.e. all these large units that the Bleak Swords wouldn't be able to handle. Anyway, good job to everybody here. We are going to, I guess, enslave, because, well, the ransom cap is just not worth it right now. This will allow us to heal up, and immune to desert attrition, sandstorm, and winds of magic reserve rate change for us, as well as, hey, the Bolt Fiends, Dark Shards with shields. We might put that into Malekith's army. I'm not entirely sure who gets what yet, but we'll figure it out. Either way, Eldar's Spire, are you worth a sack? Not really. 1200, you're a tier 2. Oh, but we could sack you. Well, decisive victory either way, occupy, or maybe sack it. It's already an existing province. And it'll already go down to tier 1 because it's tier 2. Yeah. Even with the relatively minor reward, you're gonna sack it, and hopefully you're still close enough to reclaim it, and indeed you are. Actually, out of curiosity, I was hoping that you would be close enough to immediately attack Drekla Spire so that they can't rebuild, but that's fine. We'll take Eldar Spire instead, occupy. And there we are. Alrighty, and the repairs are going to be cheaper than the than not sacking it. Anyway, with that, we are obviously very much out of time, and I am going to call the episode here. Next time, Crone Hellebron moves towards Dracula Spire, and hopefully the destruction of KHATEP, as I'm assuming that we can leave Clarok Spire to Grumbrindal. I might even use a little bit of allegiance to directly tell him to occupy it. Otherwise, Malekith will be raiding the territories of the Dran. We can't declare war on them for another 8 turns, unfortunately, so we don't have much to do, but we can essentially move through their territories, claim the Venom Glade, maybe the Circle of Destruction for ourselves, and then when they inevitably start attacking us, immediately destroy them. And it's possible that by that time, we will have Hellebron reach us here. Anyway, we also got to make sure that we take Storag Core for ourselves before our Dwarfen allies do, as thus will be part of the Obsidian Peaks and a major territory for us. One of the 6 cities of Naggarond, or Nagarath, rather. Anyway, more Malekith to come, so stay tuned. Don't forget to drop those likes and comments, especially to the Threshold Owl. Glory to the algorithm. And thanks for watching. Have a miserable day.